Hello, darlings. It's good to see you all again. And thanks for joining me for today's video. I want to talk to you today about the update of my van Kaia. Because, as you know, that recently I have had some mechanical issues with the van. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So, I have booked my van in for Wednesday the 17th of December at 8 a.m. Now, that's not to get the van fixed. That's just to find out what's wrong with the van. And that alone is going to cost me $150. That's AUD. But that's okay, because at least I will know what's wrong with the van and I can take it from there. However, I do think I know what's wrong with the van. I believe that I caused this. This was my mistake, and this is what I want to talk to you about today, is what I think is wrong with the van, what I did to cause this issue with the van, how to fix it, and how you can avoid getting into this situation and how you can avoid making the same mistake that I did. Now, next week, when I do find out what is actually wrong with the van for sure, then I will be able to let you know if I'm right or wrong. But I think I'm right. But time will tell. We will be able to find out next week. So what happened is the other day when I was driving along, all of a sudden, all the lights on my dashboard came on all at once and the van stalled. And because I have power steering, when the van stalled, the wheel locked up, so I had no steering at all. And even though the brakes still work, I did notice that it was harder to brake. And that happened twice. Now, what happened is that I came out of my driveway and I was heading, because I'm lucky that I live right opposite the shopping complex, where we've got everything. We've got Woolies, Aldi, fish and chips, chemists, petrol stations, you name it. So it's convenient to live right across the road from the shopping complex. So I was going to go to get petrol because my van was on empty. And as I was doing a right-hand turn into the shopping complex, that's when the lights came on and it stalled the first time. And I thought it was because I was really low on diesel. My van takes diesel. So I managed to get it to the petrol station and I filled up the tank, and then I took off because I needed to go down to Northland to do some shopping. And then it happened again. The lights came on and it stalled. So what I did was the same as the first time. I pulled over, I turned the ignition off, I put the gears into neutral, I started it up and it went. So I managed to get it back home okay. And I spoke to my mechanic. So I had to drive my van around to my mechanic, and thank God my mechanic is just around the corner from me. And so he didn't have a proper look at it. He just had a brief look at it, and he goes, I'm not sure what it is. He goes, he doesn't think it's the alternator, and he doesn't think it's the battery. And the only way he can find out is to have a proper look. So I booked that in for Wednesday the 17th, and I will be able to find out then exactly what's wrong with it. And so what I think is wrong with the van is because it was very low on gas. Now, this is a mistake that I made, and I'm going to explain what I've learned from this whole situation. It's because I had to go, so I live on the northeastern suburbs of Melbourne. And I had to drive up to my hometown in Bacchus, which is about, 55 kilometres or so. It takes a good hour and a bit to get up there from my place, depending on the traffic, of course. And the reason why I had to go up there is because I had to help my brothers and my family clean up the house and empty the house, because we're getting the house ready to be put up on sale. Because, as you know, that my mum died recently. My dad, he passed away last year. And in the will it says once both of my parents pass away, the house has to be sold, and then the money has to be divided up 3 ways between myself and my brother. So I had to go up there to get to help clean up the house. And I didn't have much money at that point of time. So I went up there and I had about, I think it was a bit over a quarter of it. No, sorry. It was a bit under half a tank of petrol I had. It was between half and a quarter, something like that. And by the time I got up there, my petrol tank was just over empty. Or it was actually between empty, halfway between empty and a quarter, something like that. So you get the picture. So I leave there to come back home in the afternoon. And as after I left the town, not long after I left the town, I'm driving down the highway. The light comes up on my dashboard, meaning the tank light, to let me know that I'm now on the reserve petrol tank or diesel tank, whatever you want to call it. And I had $10 in my purse, so I had a choice. I could either put $10 in fuel into the tank, or I could gamble it and drive home and see if I had enough diesel to get home. Because that $10 was the last of the money that I had at that point in time, and I needed that for groceries and stuff. So I came up with a really cool brainwave, well, I thought it was, that I'll drive home from Bacchus on the reserve tank and see how far I can get. So I made it all the way home on the reserve tank. Okay, so I'm like thinking, okay, well that's good, because I now know how far I can get on a reserve tank. I know that if I'm on a reserve tank, I know I can go about 50 odd kilometres or so before I run out of diesel. So I ended up filling up the tank again, and then, well, not all the way up, only about halfway or so, So this is about a couple of weeks later after that. And so after running around and doing everything that I need to do, I've used up that diesel and I'm back to being on the reserve tank because the light came back on. Meaning the tank light came back on to let me know that I'm now on the reserve diesel in my van. And I had to go over to Flemington to see my doctor, and that's about a half an hour drive from my place. So to get there and back again, you're looking at about an hour's drive, or almost an hour, something like that. And I thought, well, I can make it over there and back again without putting any diesel into my van, because I know that if I can get from Bacchus Mouth to my apartment on the reserve tank without running out of petrol, I could do the same too. And by doing that, I can save money because I'm using the last of the diesel in my reserve tank, and I don't have to worry about putting diesel in until next time when I get paid, so that's what I was thinking. And so that's what I did. And I come back home, and everything's la-di-da. And then the next morning, I thought, okay, now I have to fill up the tank again because I knew it was very low on empty because I had used the reserve diesel that was in my tank. So I hop in the van, I warm it up, I pull out of the driveway to go over to the petrol station across the road from me, and as I'm turning right into the shopping complex, that's when all of a sudden the lights on my dashboard came on and it stalled, and I'm like, oh no, I think it's because it hasn't got much diesel in it, and I think I'm right. But I managed to get to the petrol station, and then once I filled it up, I'm thinking, okay, I'm right again. I don't have to worry about it because I filled it up with diesel. But then after I took off, it happened again. The lights came back on and it stalled. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's something else. So I managed to get it back home. And I contacted my mechanic and he said, I can't tell without looking at it. So I booked it in and all that. He said, bring it around at 11:30 and I'll have a brief look at it. So I drove it around at 11:30 that day, and oh my God, I'm panicking and my heart is racing. My anxiety levels are really sky high because I'm worried about the van stalling again. But this time, as I drove it from home to my mechanic and then from my mechanic back home again, it didn't stall, thank goodness. So what I did is I Googled what could be wrong with my van if I'm driving on empty. And that's when I've discovered that you should never do that. Never drive on. If you can avoid not driving on a reserve tank, you shouldn't do that. Don't do that. As soon as the light on your dashboard of your tank comes up, they're saying, look, you're on empty, you're now in the reserve tank, go fill it back up. Don't do what I did. Because what happens, and this is what I believe happened this time, is because when you're driving on your reserve tank, because there's not much fuel, air gets into the line. And I think that's what happened. And so when the air has got into where the diesel is supposed to be, into the diesel line, that is what has made it to stall. and make the lights come on. And so therefore I'm hoping it's not going to cost me much to fix. I asked, when I googled, how to fix it, I said just fill the tank up, and, keep driving it because the air will eventually go. So therefore now I don't think the mechanical issues with my van are as bad as what I thought it were, because I was thinking it could have been the alternator or the battery. But when my mechanic had a brief look at it that day, he goes, it's not the alternator, it's not the battery. I don't know what it is. He said the only way I can find out what it is for you to bring it in and have a thorough check. So I booked the van in for Wednesday the 17th, so we can find out exactly what it is. And I believe he's going to say, because I was driving on empty, or almost empty, for quite a while, he's going to say that has caused the air to get in, which has made it to stall. So I believe that's what's happened. So therefore, because what I was thinking is, because I remember when I was a child, and you remember back in the 70s and that, and early 80s, with the cars were a lot different compared to now. Like back then we didn't have power steering and all this other fancy stuff that we have in our vehicles now. And I can remember my parents driving on empty, or almost empty, and they never had any problems. So here I'm thinking, well, if they never had any problems, well, I'm not going to either. But I was wrong, because times have changed since then. And the vehicles that we have today are not like the older vehicles of yesterday, which I have now realised. So therefore, to avoid this situation, what you do is you always keep fuel in your vehicle. It doesn't matter what type of vehicle you have. Once your reserve tank light comes up on your dashboard, go to the petrol station and fill it back up. You don't have to fill it all the way or halfway, at least, a quarter of the way. If you put, say, $10, if that light comes on, and if you say you put $10 in, that's fine. You're not going to get air into your line. You're going to be fine. But if you don't put any petrol in, and if you keep driving like I did, then you're going to get air into your line, and that's going to cause problems like it did for me. So what I'm going to do about it is I'll take my van over to my mechanic on Wednesday, get him to have a look at it, pay the $150 for him to have a look at it. And then because if it does cost me anything to get it fixed, what I'm going to do is, what I thought about doing was, saving up the money to get it fixed. But I've been doing a lot of thinking about this lately, so what I've decided to do is go to Divers, because I'm eligible for a loan from there, and I can use that money to get it fixed. And even if it doesn't need to be fixed, I'm still going to go to Divers and get the loan anyway, because I need to get the air conditioner in my van fixed. We're in summer now, and the weather has already started to get quite warm here, especially in the van. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll book it in for Wednesday and see what my mechanic says. If the van needs to be fixed, I'll book it in again to be fixed. if there's nothing wrong with the van and the air in the line has already gone out, I'm still going to book the van in to get the air conditioner fixed in my van, because I'm telling you this time that no way am I going to be driving around this summer in this van without the air conditioner working. Oh my God, I've had enough of doing that. I mean, even with all the fans and the windows down and using, a few USB mini air conditioners in the van as well, which do help. But like when we have a heat wave here in Australia and you're in your van, those even though those USB mini air conditioners and those fans do help, they don't help much when it's really, really, really hot. So whatever happens, whatever my mechanic tells me is wrong with the van or isn't wrong with the van on Wednesday, I'm still going to book it in to get the air conditioner fixed anyway. Because it's important to me that I make the van as comfortable as possible, because I cannot drive around in this van without an air conditioner when it's really hot, especially when I've got Callie in the van. So that's what my plans are. So whatever happens, please do not drive on a reserve tank. As soon as your reserve tank gas light comes on, go straight to a petrol station. Even if it's only $10 worth of petrol, just put some petrol in. Do not drive on the reserve tank. I mean, you can for a little bit, but not much, because if you use up all that reserve diesel or petrol or whatever type of gas you have in your van, it's going to cause air to get into the lines, and that's going to cause damage to your van. So if you keep doing that over a long period of time, it's going to cause more damage. You see what I mean? And it's not worth it. Because once my gas lights come on and my van stalls, I've got no power steering, I've got nothing. And, that could have caused an accident, And my motto is prevention is better than cure. So, and it's also common sense too. It also pays to use common sense as well. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got the van booked in for Wednesday the 17th. Then I can let you know exactly what's wrong with the van, if it needs to be fixed or not. I will be able to let you know if I'm right. I mean, I'm no mechanic. I don't know anything about vans. I'm just going on by what I found out by Google. And this is what I have learned from this situation. So this is just really another costly experience for me, because I've now learned that it does not pay driving on a reserve tank of diesel, petrol or whatever. So that's what I have learned from this. But whatever happens, I know at the moment that I'm definitely going to get the air conditioner fixed, and that will definitely make a big difference as well when I'm driving in the van. It'll be a lot more comfortable. And then once I get that done, then I can start working on making the van more comfortable in other ways. Just a bit here and a bit there. And then when I receive my inheritance, then I can put the high top roof in or whatever else that needs to be done as well. So I will get there eventually. So therefore, this is why I believe it's nothing major at the moment. It's just air in the fuel line because I was driving on the reserve tank, and I have learned that's a big no-no. So please, whatever you do, do not drive on a reserve tank. Like I said, once that light comes on, you can drive a little bit if you have to, but that's all. No further than that. Just go straight to the petrol station. You don't have to fill up the tank halfway or full or whatever. You know, you just need to put like $10 in. Just a quarter of a tank will do. But please do not drive on a reserve tank of petrol or whatever type of gas you have. It's not worth it. So that's what I've learned from this situation. So I'll be able to let you know in a week's time if I'm right or wrong about this situation. But I think I'm right. So all I know at the moment is that time will tell. And if I need to get the van fixed, I will get the van fixed as well as get the air conditioner fixed. And if I don't need to get the van fixed, I'm still going to get the air conditioner fixed anyway. So that means whatever happens with the van, whether it needs to be fixed or not, I still will need to go to the Iris to get the loan to get the air conditioner fixed. But that's okay because it will be worth it, because I'm telling you now, there's nothing worse than driving around in a boiling hot van when you don't have the air conditioning. I mean, I do have air conditioning, but the air conditioner doesn't work. I mean, that's how it came with the van. That's another reason why I got this van really cheap, is because the air conditioner didn't work. And I said to the guy, well, that's okay, don't worry about it, because I will get it fixed later on. And now is the time for me to get it fixed, because we've got the hot weather coming. We're a week into summer, and I can start to feel the heat already. And you know how quickly how quickly a vehicle will heat up. It will heat up in 10 minutes or so, not even that. And it will just double the amount of whatever the temperature is outside. Okay, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold, you can tell by my voice. So that's my video for today. I just want to talk about the update of my van. I thought, my mechanic said that I can drive it, but I thought, because I like to use common sense, I think that's important. So what I've decided to do is just let the van sit in the car park here, in my car park, until he checks it out properly and then lets me know for sure. Because I don't want to be driving somewhere and have the van stall again and then I can't get it to go. You see what I mean? I would rather have the van sit here at home where I know it's safe and I don't have to worry about it until I know for sure that it's drivable and it's not going to stall. You see what I mean? And so for that reason, I have to come out here to the van and set up the van once every, say, 3 or 4 days, once every few days or so, just to idle it and to rev it to make sure that the battery doesn't go flat, because I don't want to cause any more problems or add any more problems to the situation than what I already have to. And, you know, like I said, you know, my mechanic said, you know, take it for a drive around the block. to keep the battery recharged. And I said no, I'd rather let it sit in the driveway here, and I'd rather just come out here once every few days and turn it on and recharge the battery that way, because even though I've got, a jump start battery and cable, which I can use in case I do have a dead battery, I would actually prefer to recharge the battery once every few days than to use the battery jump start, if that makes sense, because like I said, my motto is prevention is better than cure. Get out. I just had to, because I only have power steering in this van, so every time I need to open and close the window, I've got to turn the engine on, the ignition on. And I just had a little fly in the van, so I just opened up the window to let it out. So that's my video for today. So at least next week I will be able to let you know if I'm right or wrong about the van, and at least it will be fixed. Because of this mistake that I made by driving on a reserve tank, not once but twice, and because I've got air in the lines, or I think I have, which has made the van stall. Because of this situation, it has, I had to put my plans on hold, because what I had planned to do for this week was to drive over to like Bandora, and South Morang and that area around there, and make some videos, because they've got a couple of nice free camps out there and stuff like that, and do some stealth camping up there. So that means that after I see my mechanic and then get the van fixed, if it needs to be fixed, that is, then I will make those videos then. So, that's still okay, because the videos that I want to do will still get made. It's just going to take a little bit longer to do that because of this mistake that I made of driving on the reserve diesel in my van. And this is what, I'm explaining to you about, so you can avoid making this error yourself. So please, whatever vehicle you have, do not drive on the reserve tank unless you really, really have to. And if you have to, don't go far. As soon as that light comes on, put some more gas into your vehicle. I cannot stress that enough because of what I've learned from this situation. Okay, 30 odd minutes. I'm going to have to wrap up this video. So it's only another week, and then I will be able to find out exactly what's wrong with the van, get it fixed, get the air conditioner fixed as well, and then we're going to go camping. Woohoo! Oh my God, I'm so excited about it. As well as stealth camping in the van, and at least it will be a lot more comfortable to drive in the van with the air conditioner on. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's going to make such a big difference, as well as a lot more comfortable. And I can just say Kelly being a lot more happier in the van, being in the cold, nice cool van. But having said that, I still need to get a good portable air conditioner for in the back. So I mean, I could always, like, have the ignition on and have the air conditioner from this from my van air conditioner on. I could go about it that way, but I don't really want to be wasting the battery where I don't have to. So anyway, I'll get there eventually. And time will tell, so we're getting closer, so I'm really excited about that. And I'm really excited about making more videos. I've got lots of videos planned in different areas. Once I will know for sure on Wednesday, then on Wednesday I will be able to make another video, another update video, and let you know what's going on, and we'll take it from there. Woohoo! Okay, so thanks for joining me for today's video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so to support me. And of course, don't forget to give my videos a thumbs up. Oh my god, I'm so excited. It's so close now. So very close now. Yes, so I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, please take care and, of course, drive safely. Bye-bye, darlings.